Hello everyone. Today video is on Blazor server authentication and authorization using Microsoft ASP.NET Core Identity. Let's understand what is Microsoft ASP.NET Core Identity Library. Okay, built-in login functionality library that supports authentication of all different .NET applications. Okay, using our ASP.NET Core Identity Library, we can apply authentication for any kind of .NET applications such as like Razor Pages, MVC, Web API, Blazor Server applications. Okay, so this library contains all built-in functionalities like registration, login, confirmation email, reset password, forgot password, all kind of uh, general login scenarios has been already built up into this library. Okay, it provides rich authentication UI pages and that are customizable as well. By default, this library provides us the all login pages. Okay, and they are very good in design. And if we want, we can customize them as well. Okay, adaptable for any external authentication providers like Google, Facebook, Outlook. So, like its table structure or its authentication process can be compatible with other external providers like Google Authentication, Facebook Authentication, and Outlook as well. Okay, can be integrated with any authentication libraries like Identity Server 4, Azure Active Directory, or Azure Active Directory B2C. Okay, so this ASP.NET Identity itself a library, but this library logic can be utilized by other authentication libraries as well, like Identity Server 4 or Azure Active Directory. Now let's create a Blazor server application by enabling the individual authentication process. Here is my .NET CLI command for creating the Blazor server application along with by enabling the user individual authentication. Okay, so command is like .NET space new and template name that is Blazor server and small correction here -o. Okay, and space name of your project, then space hyphen AU, that means flag represent authentication, and space type of authentication. I want individual user authentication. Okay, let's create the project. So project successfully created. I'm going to open the project in Visual Studio Code Editor. Here is my project and I have created with target framework like .NET Core 6, and here in the package references we can see few default packages that has been installed by default and creating the project. So here we have to mainly concentrate on two packages, that is like Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Identity.NT framework. So this package is built for identity login. So it will contain all extension methods that are related to entity framework. Okay. The second package is Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Identity.ua. So this is a Razor class library that contains all our login UI pages and login UI logic, everything. Okay. So first thing we have to understand is identity DB context. Okay. So go to data folder. Here you can observe a class like application.db context. Okay. This is nothing but a our identity DB context, means our identity library will uses this identity DB context to interact with our database. Okay. So it is like our DB context only, but it is specially comes from Microsoft.ASP.NET Core.Identity.NT framework .identity.db context. Okay. It will be registered in the program.cs. We can observe that. Go to program.cs file, and here you can see add DB context service registration. Okay, but here it is using SQLite as a default, okay, database. But I want to use Microsoft SQL database. So first thing is we have to install the NT Framework SQL dependent library. Okay, so I want to install Microsoft.NT Framework Core.SQL Server. Okay, if you are using Visual Studio, copy the command from Package Manager. Since I am using .NET CLI, I am going to copy from here. So let's install the package. Okay, package successfully installed. Okay, now in program.cs file, let's change this to use SQL Server. Okay, and one more thing we have to do is in app settings.json, in the default connection, let's add our own database connection. So I added my DB connection. Okay, next we have to create the identity table. Okay, so to create the identity table, based on this identity DB context implementation, there are migration files. In data, we can see the default migration folder. So from based on this DB context, by default framework generates a schema, okay, migration schema that contains all our tables. So since we already have the migration file, only thing we have to do means we have to apply the we have to update the database. Okay, so for this demo, I have created a empty database demo auth1. Okay, so I want to update all these scripts into my database. Since I have already provided the same connection string that targets the demo auth database. Okay, you can use your existing database as well. So to update these scripts, schema scripts into my database, we have a command is like .NET ef database slash update space update. So now run the command, and I am getting some error while running my migrations. So if you face same issue like this, only solution is delete these migration files. Okay, and next let's create a new migration file. So command for creating new migration is .NET ef migrations add. I will name it, this is my schema name. Okay, and run the command. I can observe a migration folder here, new migration folder with my name. So new migrations has been successfully created. So to update the changes in these files into database, we have to run the update command which we did previously. Database update. Okay. So now the script has been successfully executed. If I go to database, and now I can see all the tables. All the tables they are prefixed with ASP.NET users. So if you want to customize these table names, you can do that. For that, you have to implement the each and every identity entity. Okay, so that concept is out of this video. Okay, so I have successfully generated my identity tables. Okay, so now what I can do, I can run my application and I can register, I can log in as well. So let's run the application. So if I click counter, it is loading. If I click page, it is loading. So these are Blazor components. Okay, Blazor components means on navigating them, we won't reload. But if I click on register, please observe this circle. We are refreshed. Page is refreshed. Means this is an another page. Okay, not a Blazor component. Okay, where this page is coming from. If I go and check in my project, we don't find anything here. There is an areas folder, but there is no much information here. Accounts also only one file, shared also one file. But where this file is loading, identity.account.register. This is loading from this UI library, which is a Razor class library. So all Razor pages, okay, these are Razor pages only, okay, are bundled and stored into this library. Those libraries will be provided by the identity server. So now I can register simply with some test data, and if I give some, see here, validations also automatically if I registered with a valid password, okay. I am successfully created. So here is the registration confirmation. You can see account slash registration. This is another page. It is navigated to. And this app doesn't currently have a real email sender register. So if in real world application, if we register, it will redirect to like some confirmation box. Okay. But since it is a local development, right, there is no email sender. So what the library by default doing is it is showing the click here to confirm your account. Okay. So this is only development code. So how can we remove this development code? Because this is not production code. At that time, what we have to do means we have to customize the identity files. Okay. That step we can learn in upcoming steps. Okay. So for now, what I will do, click on confirm. So my email confirmation is done. Now I can log in. Okay. So you can see my email here and log out to text. That means I have successfully logged in. If I click log out, it will log out. Okay. I want to go in detail about few important functionalities in this project. So let's go through them. So we have understand what is identity DB context, and we have created identity tables. And next concept we have to know is authentication state provider. Okay. So what is authentication state provider? In Blazor application, either it is a server or WebAssembly application, a built-in provider called authentication state provider provides the authenticated user information to the Blazor component. Why? Okay, because Blazor components cannot read HTTP context, request context they won't get. Okay, so that's why Microsoft has created a provider which is implicitly consumes the request message only, authentication state provider. Okay, we can observe a file like revalidating authentication state. Okay, this is our normal class, but it is inheriting another class that is like revalidating server authentication state provider, which loads from ASP.NET Core Components.Server. So if I go to definition of this class, it is inheriting from server authentication state. If I go to this definition, this is implementing authentication state provider. Okay, this is our authentication state provider. That means this class is a custom implementation of our authentication state provider. So what this custom class contain means all the logic of reading user clients, user information automatically taken care by the authentication state provider. But here we customly implemented means we will implement some logic. So what we are doing means we are just validating the here validating the user stamp. So this is the table of user table, and here you can see one column like security stamp. What this security stamp column means, it contains a security key, that is obvious. So what this security stamp means, this value will be changed if any sensitive data of the user information is changed, like password. So this can be this stamp can be used for uh, logging out user from all devices. In that case, this stamp is very useful. So same logic is same user stamp verification is doing here in this custom revalidating authentication. So create the memory of the authentication state provider. It should be registered in the startup. So here authentication state provider is registered. Okay. I have mentioned authentication state provider can be used by the Blazor components, right? So let's check how it can use. So how it can use means, first thing is it can be used as a cascading property in any Blazor component. Okay. So what I will do, I will go to index.razor page. So here I want to fetch my logged in user claims. Okay. And I have mentioned it can be used as a cascading property, means cascading property means coming from the parent, right? So how it will coming as a cascading property means, so first let me create the property. So like this, on every component, if you want the user information, logged in user information, you have to use the authenticate state property. And how this is injected as a cascading property means, if we go to app.razor, and here we can see the root component, that is nothing but a cascading authenticate state provider, injecting this property into every component, because app razor is the encapsulated around the router component. That means any property inside of it can be read as a cascading property into the Blazor components. Okay. From this authentication state, we can get user information. Auth state dot user. So let me create a variable like user. User equal to, I am going to assign user here. If your identity dot is authenticated, if it is authenticated, let's create a UL and loop our claims. So what I have did, I am using cascading authentication property, and in on page lifecycle, I am fetching the user information and agent and looping the user claims. So let's test the output. So let's log in again, and you can see here claim types and values like claim name, that is my email address, some security stamp, and the unique identifier of the user. So I am able to get the information that is possible because of the authentication state provider. And next key thing that we have to understand about is ASP.NET Core Identity UI. So this is the Razor Cross library that is bundled with all ASP.NET Core Razor pages that are related to login functionality. Okay, and if you want to override any logic inside of it, we have to create the each file explicitly. So those files are will be created here. Any file under this area under identity will override. So there will be a login page inside of it, right? So that page can be created here. So if we have a explicit page in this account folder that is in inside of the identity, then this will be used as a login page. It won't take the page that is already available in the library. Okay. So any page we want to customize, then we have to add those folders or files into this. Okay. You may think how we know the logic and how we can override, right? There is a command. By running that command, we will get all those files here. Then uh, all the data inside of this library will be ignored because we have explicitly files, right? So all the files how to generate, I will explain in upcoming steps. Okay. So one more thing here we have to understand means, we understand files are here, but how Blazor servers know how I have to invoke those only. That is happened because in program.cs file you can observe on service registration like add a default identity. So if you hover here, you can save. read like, in order to use the default UI, this service nothing but to load the default UI login UI for our application. Okay, it's by default use loads all our identity pages. This service need to be registered. And here there is one more service we registered, that is add Razor pages, because the pages inside of this identity UR all are Razor pages. Okay, login pages are all are Razor pages. Okay, and we have to enable the authentication middleware. Okay, so authentication middleware means in program.cs file you can observe we have to append the or integrate the middlewares like use authentication and authorization here. Okay, next, generate identity files for explicit customization. So this is the step I am telling that I am going to explain later how we can customize the identity files. Okay, so I have already mentioned you that any file that related to identity we want to customize, we have to create it here, right? So creating manually is very difficult. So there is a easy step for scaffolding all those files. We have to use some commands. Okay, let first command we have to install a package that is like, so first step is we have to install this NuGet package. What is that package? Microsoft.Visual Studio.Web. Code generation design. Okay, so first we have to install this package. So to install this package, our CLI command is like .NET add package. Okay, so I'm copying this command and let's install that package. Okay, package has been successfully installed. And second step is we have to install a tool, that is .NET tool, globally. So to install it, you can open command prompt anywhere, that is not specific to any folder. So this installation command will be installed globally into your system. So we have to install .NET tools, install g- means global installation. So we have to install that is .NET ASP.NET Code Generator. So this is the global tool that helps to generate the files of our ASP.NET identity. Okay, so please install it globally. This is the second step. And the third and final step is like .NET, okay, and keyword ASP.NET Code Generator. So this is the tool we have previously installed, right? That tool now helps to install the or scaffold our identity files. Okay, using that tool, I want to generate identity files. Okay, to generate identity files, I am asking code generator to consider the DB context. Okay, DC flag means DB context, and you have to specify the fully qualified name of your application DB context. Okay, so this command has to be run. Okay, command has been successfully installed. If I go to my areas under identity folder under areas, so now you can see there are more files. Previously only one or two files, but there is more files. Means all the files. Okay, all the login related files which are inside of this library, identity UI library, now explicitly generated and added into our Blazor server application. So now we have explicit files, right? They will be override the logic inside of this library. Okay. So if you want, we can generate only few files only. For that, to this command, we have to specify like flag like file and the quotations. Inside of the quotation, you have to mention each file. Like if I want something like login, right? So then I have to specify like login.cshtml, okay, colon. Like that, you can specify your n number of files, okay? But I have generated all the files. So now what you can do, these are all Razor pages. Okay, Microsoft Razor pages. So now if you want, you can customize the logic and in the CSHTML files, you can redesign your UI. And I have promised I am going to show one development code that need to be removed for production, right? See, this is the line of code. Once you add a real email sender, you should remove this code. Lets you confirm. Okay, here directly assign true, and is some fake logic is executing for what I can say for confirming the email. Okay, so this logic need to be removed. Okay, so like this, you using these explicit files, we can customize our identity UI, and if you want logics as well. Okay, I want to show final step, that is nothing but authorization. Okay, so implementing authorization also very simple. I have create registered one user, right? Now what I will do, go to ASP.NET user claims. Okay, like edit top 200 rows, and in the user ID, copy our user ID, and I will write a claim like view counter page. Okay, I will add value like 1, means like S. My convention, you can add any value. Okay, this is my claim, right? So now what I will do, I have to create a authorization policy in the program.cs file. To do that, what I will do, builder services dot add authorization core. Okay, and let's add some options. Okay, and let's add a policy, and I will add page view policy. This is just a policy name. Okay, and here policy, inside of it policy, I can add claims to my policy. Okay, require claim. Okay, so here I have to pass claim type and its values. The values can be array, same claim type can have n different of values. So for now, my claim type, and okay, they must be provided as array claims. Okay, so here I just registered a claims based policy. So now what I want to do, I want to apply authorization on my counter page. So if I go to my counter razor page, so here to apply attribute at the rate attribute and open braces and authorize. Okay, and here I can pass the policy name. What is my policy name? Page view policy. Okay, here I am adding authorization. So users, logged in users only allowed to access this page, but there is a condition. Along with login, you should have a claim view count, and its one of its value must be matched with his claim value. Okay, so that is the rule I have applied here. So let's run the application. Okay, refresh the page. Now click on counter. See, I am not able to view the data. It is showing not authorized. Okay, if I log in, I am successfully logged in. If I go to counter page, I am able to see the counter page because I am authorized user. For suppose, let's update our value to 3. So this value is not available here. Here only 1 and 2 claim value only authorized. So my user value is 3. If I try to access now after authentication also, I am get message like unauthorized because I don't have that claim value. The policy that contain claim value I don't have. So let's run again. So to test it, let's log out and log in. This time after login also, I will get unauthorized message because I don't have that claim value. Okay, successfully logged in. See, here I am getting our claim values as well. I have rendered, right? So how this data is coming, we have previously discussed, right? Authentication state provider. So that is reading claims as well. So my claim value is view page counter 3. Okay. If I go to counter page, I should see unauthorized message. See not authorized. So that is how authorization works in Blazor. So that's all about Blazor server authentication with ASP.NET Core Identity Library. So I think this video has delivered some useful information to you all. If you like my video, please support me by subscribing to my channel. We will meet you soon with a new videos. Until then, signing off.